You have to put him over, bro.
Yeah, I agree.
And the real way to do it is if they're both heels, is bro for them to have a freaking war
Yeah.
with Gunther going over and kind of Sheamus giving him kudos.
So the DX invasion, WCW. Whose idea was it to invade WCW?
Me and Ed.
Okay. So I watched the DX I watched the DX documentary, and there was zero mention of Vince Russo.
Of course, exactly, bro. Like exactly. I mean that was me, bro. I'll tell you, like the one thing, like I always remember was that was me and Ed. And bro, I remember we're sitting there, we're coming up with this, and like I'm just sitting in front of my computer, and now I'm writing it out. I actually like would write the show out, that's what I did myself. And bro, I purposely wrote down on the paper, DX drives a rocket launcher to the WCW building. And bro, I did it for you know what, in giggles. Because I'm saying to myself, there's no way in the world. I used to love that, bro, because whatever you used to write down, Kevin Dunn, they'd be able to get it. They'd be able to get no matter what it was. So I wrote down a rocket launcher, like, okay, let me see you get this one. Sure enough, bro, show up that day. There is a rocket launcher there. Yeah. And bro, and I've always said this, it's like, listen, bro, I'm people can rewrite history like all they want. I say this all the time. Me and Ed did write it. I did not produce it because I was busy at the building with everything else. Bruce went out with them, and Bruce produced all that stuff. And I'm sure Hunter and DX and all those guys had a lot to do with ad-libbing and everything like that. 1,000%. I'm sure, they were involved in that. But, with the actual, concept and writing it, we did write that thing.
Yeah. It's interesting if people Vince did this, Vince did all the bad things. But, even in the documentary, they talk about how the invasion was actually the like pivotal moment of the turn, of the ratings turn. And, it was interesting. I was like, okay, so if I'm putting my math together, 2 + 2, okay. So Vince and Ed Ferrara was the writers during that time. I didn't hear in the documentary zero reference of either one of them.
Of course not. And that's the difference, bro. Like I love giving people credit because first of all, I know it makes them feel good. Second of all, it's free, bro. It doesn't cost them anything. If that's why I have no problem. Bruce produced all those. I didn't go out with them and do that. I was not there. We wrote it. I asked Bruce to produce it because I had other things to do. And those guys did a great job. I got no problem saying that.
Yeah, I mean, anytime, and I love giving people credit too, because like when you give people credit, it shows the authenticity of when you're saying something that when you're giving yourself credit, right? If you always give yourself credit for everything, it doesn't feel authentic because it's like you're not responsible for everything. But when you actually give people credit and then you're like, yeah, I did do that, it makes it feel more authentic.
Yeah, bro, it was funny because on Bruce's show too with Conrad, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he kind of took credit for it, like the whole thing. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, wait a minute, bro. So a rocket launcher just happened to be there that day? Like it just like, oh, wait a minute. There's a rocket. No, bro. Somebody had to write that to make sure it was there that day. It's just stuff like that, bro, that I'm like, come on, guys. Like, come on.
All right, so let's land the plane on these topics for today. So listen, Clash of the Castle is coming up. We've got Gunther, used to be Walter, and you know about Walter, against Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship. So who do you think will win at the Premier Live event? And what are your experiences working with Walter when it comes to that? This is for the Intercontinental Championship. They're trying to bring some prestige here. To me, it's a bit odd because Sheamus, I know you don't watch SmackDown. You know a bit about it when it comes to hot topics, but Sheamus is one of the biggest heels in SmackDown. Gunther is probably the biggest heel, at least one of the biggest heels, other than Reigns and Karrion Kross. He's probably number 3 behind those two. Although Kross is kind of playing a tweener role, we'll see where that goes. But as far as Gunther is concerned, just the old school, typical foreign Ludwig Borga type of just hated heel. Like no one likes him, which I love. I love that in a heel. Really playing the foreign gimmick really well. Sheamus has been feuding against Drew and New Day and all these things. He has Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland. I don't get this really because it's like who's going to cheer for who. I don't get this, Vince. I mean, what are your thoughts on this whole thing and who do you think's going to win?
Well, bro, you got to put Gunther over. I mean, Gunther, was it Gunther?
Gunther.
You have to put him over, bro.
Yeah, I agree.
And the real way to do it is if they're both heels, is bro for them to have a freaking war with Gunther going over and kind of Sheamus giving him kudos. Like, they're two really bad people, and he got the best of them. I mean, that's really the right way to do it. And then even, bro, if you want an insult to injury, when Sheamus kind of gives him the pat on the back, let Gunther I don't need what you're giving me a stamp of wood yet. I mean that's what then at that point you could turn Sheamus babyface if you want. Yeah. But you've got to put it on him.
I agree with that 100%. I think to me, I don't think that it's necessary to go 50-50 here. I think it just needs to be just a knockdown, drag out, and then at first they go back and forth as far as just a slobber knocker, as Ross would say, as JR would say. But then Gunther, he gets to the point where he starts to get the upper hand. He starts to do the vicious chops. He does the clotheslines, the sickles, and then all of a sudden Sheamus he out brawls Sheamus. Yeah. And then eventually he just keeps beating him down and keep beating him down and keep beating him down and keep beating him down. And then he just gets to the point where he just lays him out, decks him, just beats the brakes off of him. Sheamus doesn't get any, back and forth after a while. To me, this whole thing, to make it a thing, this should be 100% to highlight Gunther. Yeah. 100%. Sheamus shouldn't get any highlights from this.
Whatever happened to, I don't even remember the last time I saw this, and this may be the perfect time to do it, where, Sheamus has the upper hand at the beginning. When's the last time, bro, you saw somebody get busted open and they realize they're bleeding and then they go absolutely that this is a perfect time to do this, because Sheamus was tough enough to bust him open, but not having any idea what that's going to do to him. I have not seen that in years.
Yeah, they can't bleed anymore, so that's probably why you haven't been seeing it for years. So yeah. I think
at a pay-per-view they can't they?
I think it's still PG. Yeah, they were talking about the 14, bumping up to 14. I don't know if they've done it officially yet, but if it's a 14, I think they're, I think blood makes the color, gives color. I mean, it brings layers to to a match when it's telling a story, color just for color's sake.
I agree with you. Oh, I hate that. I hate color for color's sake.
Yeah. If you bring color in, make it a part of the story.
I agree.
Flair's last match, color for color's sake, man. It didn't add to the story whatsoever, man.
No.
We shall see where that goes. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, this is the guy right here. This is the former WCW World Heavyweight Champion, former head writer for WWE Attitude Era, ladies and gentlemen. And he is the man with the brand. Let him know, man.
Yes, guys, please check out channelattitude.com. Also, man, on Patreon, patreon.com/Russo TWC. Right now, I'm going through the Attitude Era 1 hour at a time, really breaking it down. So if you are a fan of that era, I think you'll really enjoy that. Channelattitude.com.
No, nice. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy right here is Vince Russo. I am Dr. Chris. This is Riding with Russo. Solo!